I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, as always, I'm Josh, and I'm joined by the one and only Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. In fact, I take that back. Actually, not much to talk about at all, so we made our own topics. We do have some UFC Vegas to go over. Terrence Crawford defeating Sean Porter. A little bit of thoughts on the whole Triller Triad combat shit show going on Saturday. As well, we are also going to bring back the fan favorite topic, the fantasy draft. This week, covering the Bantamweight division. 7 rounds, as always, me and Angel taking a crack at who we think are the greatest Bantamweights of all time. 1 week before Rob Font and Jose Aldo square off in the UFC Apex. But before we get into all that, I'll talk to you guys real quickly about Rogue Energy, because Rogue Energy was founded in January of 2017 to be the best gaming drink in the world. Built a premium stack of the former delicious energy and focus drink. It is designed to replace unhealthy energy drinks, coffee, even traditional pre-workouts. They designed Rogue to emerge a professional competitive game market and continues to have fantastic carryover and success to students, athletes, entrepreneurs, and anyone looking to optimize their mental and physical performance. If you want 10% off of your order, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. That's code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Amazing sponsor of the show, as always. Huge fan of their products. But Angel, my guy, last Saturday night from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada, you know, we talk a lot about these cards that, maybe they're not high on name value. Maybe they're, and a lot of the time, honestly, those cards really deliver in spades that we're not really expecting. This was the complete fucking opposite of whatever we normally talk about. This card is, it set the record. It set the record. At least it tied it. For the most decisions ever on a UFC card, there was only one finish across 11 fights. One of those decisions, though, being in the main event, Ketlen Vieira defeating Miesha Tate via unanimous decision 48-47, 48-47, 49-46, being the judges' scorecards on the evening. Look, man, I gotta be honest with you, I didn't really care a whole lot about this fight going in. I think that this is a really bad matchup for Miesha. I think this is a division that's kind of light on contenders. I thought this was a really bad matchup, kind of showed. As far as the fight goes, what do you think about it? And also, what was your scorecard? I know a lot of people, I'm not seeing too many people saying that Miesha won, but I know a lot of people had it very, very close.
You know something, Josh? I'll fucking surprise you. And look, this is because of the virtue of, at the time, I had such a hard time scoring it. But at one point, I kid you not, I thought Miesha was winning the fight. I actually left coming out of it that I thought Miesha won the fight.
Really?
Which actually wasn't that crazy of an opinion, because then I went on MMA decisions, and there was I think at one point, 30% people thought, maybe 40, which didn't make me feel as bad. But I think that's also because Ketlen Vieira made this fight harder on herself to score. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, she made it more inherently difficult for her to win, thus making it seem like, did she win? She won, but it felt weird. At least to me, it was like that. To some people, it was very clear. I remember that I was on Twitter and I saw someone that we follow who's in media who was like, okay, so it's 2-0 Vieira right now, or I forgot how they had it, or it's 1-1, and I was like, the fuck? And granted, I'm also very tired. I woke up from a nap and I'm watching the fight, so there's a lot of factors that play into it. But it was also, I thought it was generally a hard fight, because it did end up being 48-47 on 2 scorecards, didn't it?
Correct. The way it went down was it all came down to that last round. It was, first 2 were for Vieira, the middle 2 were for Tate, so it came down to the last round. So yeah, that's essentially what it came down to. So yeah, you're correct.
I dig it. But yeah, no, I fucking, dude, it's crazy, Josh. I'll tell you this. I thought Miesha won one of those early rounds too, like 1 or 2. I don't remember which one I gave her. At the time, you gotta think about it too. Haven't gone back and rewatched it. I need to look back, pay more attention. And maybe rescore it. I'd love to go back and rescore that one, actually, like, very carefully.
You know what's funny, my man? Actually, I went and decided to check MMA decisions right now. So as far as the media goes, pretty straightforward. I believe 3 of the 20-something outlets scored it for Tate. Not a huge number, but that's what happened. So apparently the most popular fan scoring result, though, is actually Tate defeating Vieira 48-47.
Oh shit, so it changed from the night. Because I looked at it very early on. I looked at
it right now, currently. 29%, which is obviously the highest metric, to think that Tate won. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think it's
not so out there then. So now I feel a lot better about myself.
No, I think it's here's the thing. I think it's not a fight enough. I don't think it was a fight that was good enough for me to really get upset about. But I do think there is a case absolutely for Misha to win.
Isn't that crazy? Although she looked so beat up afterwards.
She looked so beat up, and it's honestly, I mean, dude, Misha's tough. She's tough as hell. I mean, you're never gonna put her away easily.
That's a hurt.
So yeah, I mean, full props to her. I thought, dude, the Marion Renault fight I thought was a good step back in. I thought this was the exact opposite of what they should have done with her.
Because they gave her a better build up.
I think they needed to give her a better build up. Like I said, Marion Renault was a perfect comeback opponent. She was 45.
Who would have been the perfect opponent after Marion Renault?
If I'm to look at, let me pull up the rankings real quick, and I think I could give you a somewhat good answer.
And obviously they've changed a little bit,
Yeah, obviously. Just off the top of my head, I think, because here's the thing, dude, Misha left whenever she was 29 whenever she left, which is insane to think about. She wasn't even 30, she'd already been champion.
Same.
She left pretty much in her prime after losing 2 fights. One of them, Nunes, and the other one was kind of a boring fight against Raquel Pennington. I think, like, after one win, you can arguably, depending on how you want to, if you want to fast track her to the title, you have her fight Jermaine Durandamy, who has a lot of grappling problems. You know what I mean? I think they could have done Aspen Ladd just for the story, because those two were beefing. I think they could have done Holly Holm because of the story, because they fought once previously. Instead, they decided to give her the woman with the highest defensive takedown rate, like, highest defensive, takedown in the division. You know what I mean? I thought that was a terrible matchup. Now, in the end, it was close on the feet. And,
it was. Wasn't that good?
And Misha's not known for her striking at all.
But it's gotten better.
It has gotten better. I do think she looked a lot slower, though. Am I the only one who thought that?
But she was never fast to begin with either, though, Josh.
That's true. She was never fast to begin with, but even just looking back to a couple of years ago. I think Misha might go down as, like, a big what if. You know what I mean? Because she really retired in her prime. Like, I understand, like, at the time, yeah, she retired after 2 back-to-back losses. And that looks bad. But if you look at it just through that vacuum, like, it looks bad, but she was 29. She was championed at the beginning of the year. Like, I don't know. I think she looked slower. But yeah, as far as my opinion on the fight, I thought Vieira won. I mean, it's not a fight that I'm going to get super upset about, but yeah.
I wasn't upset about it in the moment. I definitely maybe was at the time when I was scoring it, because I was like, how are people scoring it like this? Like, are we watching the same thing? But, as far as, I don't cut you off a little bit there, but I just want to mention that a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, dude, I think it's a fight that had weird scoring. I think you can reasonably score it anywhere from 50-45 Vieira to 48-47 Tate. It's one of those fights where, like, yeah, one side can, depending on how you're watching it, one side is either clearly is winning a lot of these close rounds, or one just is somehow pulling out enough rounds to win. That's how most people tend to think. Tate looked like hell at the end of the fight, but at the end of the day, yeah, she got to win. Good for her. Yeah. What do you
think about Ketlen Vieira, though?
If Ketlen Vieira, my opinion on her, my stance on her has always kind of been the same. Whenever she first came to the UFC, and she was 10-0, and, she beat Kat Zingano, and I honestly thought she should have got a title shot after that one. I mean, she beat Zingano, McMahon, Evan Smith, and another girl to go 4-0. At that time, the division didn't have a whole lot going on, which is why Nunes took the Cyborg fight. But I thought at the time they should have given the title shot to Ketlen Vieira. She was hot, on a great run, and I thought the fight made sense. Since then, I feel like we've kind of seen her level. Like, and it's disappointed me a little.
I came out of that fight feeling like she should be better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I feel like she has all this ability, and for some reason it's not being, like, fully used. You know what I mean?
I wonder if it's just her game plan. Because like you said, dude, that fight did not need to be as hard on her as it was.
Oh no, I felt like she should have taken that, like, very handily. Maybe even could have at least gotten close to finishing her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I said. I was like, I don't see a way Misha wins this fight. That's what I said last week. But dude, I felt so, like, at one point I was super high on Ketlen Vieira. I've tapered down on that a little bit, but I thought this win would have been one for her to, like, get back into the win column and to make a big statement. And it's her first headliner, like, it was the first time main eventing, I believe. and she did not put the stamp on it. So I feel kind of worse coming out of it. Now it's hard to feel.
She almost like she felt like she fought scared. I don't know what it was.
I mean,
maybe because it was Misha.
It was Misha, and combined with the fact that she'd lost 2 of her last 3. So if she loses this one, she's potentially on ice. You know what I mean?
She won it though, so good for her.
She did win. Yeah, I mean, overall, I don't have a whole lot of opinions on this fight. I mean, just like I said, it was a bad matchup going in. It was not an entertaining fight on the night of, and it was one that had weird scoring as well. It was what it was. It was just not a great card, not a great night of fights. So it felt perfect that was the main event for it. But, moving on down to the co-main event, I thought this was a fun fight. An interesting one as well. Sean Brady defeating Michael Chiesa 29-28 on all judges' scorecards via decision. He remains undefeated 15-0. But he had a little bit of a scare in that third round, man. First of all, how did you score the fight? And also, how do you feel about Sean Brady coming out of that fight?
As it was, I mean, he's still, not much has changed. Obviously, you got a little worried there at the end, right? It makes you wonder, how does it look at a 5-round fight against a guy who's super durable, going to distance? There's a lot of questions, but he hasn't even been in a 5-round main event, so we're going to be getting there. He'll learn how to make the adjustments, manage his cardio better, manage everything together. At the same time, though, he did, really outmuscle Michael Chiesa on that, which is crazy to think, because, he really held him there, Josh. I mean, at one point, it was just him just using pure raw strength. I mean, he's a strong fucking kid.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Mike Chiesa, is a fucking giant compared to him. Michael Chiesa could actually maybe, not after that, I could maybe see Michael Chiesa making 185 if he really cared to. I don't think he will, but you know what I mean. He's that big, he could fill out his body to do it.
Yeah, he looks huge. The fact that he ever made 155, and he did it for a long portion of his career. He wasn't even like Rumble. You know how Rumble made 170 quote unquote, but he did it once, and he missed it 4 times? Chiesa made weight damn near his entire lightweight. He made it 3 times within the span of a month on the Ultimate Fighter? Insane. Yeah, I could see him moving up to 185 at some point in time. He looks huge. But yeah, dude, I feel pretty much the same way. I feel like a lot of people came out of it feeling a lot worse, which I thought was weird. And I think part of it is because he may have gassed a little, he didn't use the output that a lot of people wanted him to do, but apparently it came out that he broke his nose in round 1, and he had blood going through, down to his throat. So yeah, obviously he's not gonna be going for the kill and fighting the way he normally does, but still he fought through that adversity, got the win over a top 6 guy. I'm not sure what people wanted out of him. Do you think the criticism is a little bit harsh? I mean, I'm sure you see some of it.
I mean, he's undefeated, dude. He ended up winning the fight. Obviously, he had a scare at the end, but, I mean, that happens, man. It can happen. And regardless, he came out with the W. He's 15-0. He's going to keep fighting himself in these harder challenges. But, honestly, he's looking at himself to be in the main event next, though. Honestly, 5 rounds. Has to happen against a good competition. Get battle tested and see if he's, worthy of a title shot. I mean, he's not far from it, honestly. And a win like this is amazing. Obviously, big setback for Michael Chiesa. I mean, he's looking at he's in a weird spot. I mean, he's 33 years old, not old by any means, but, definitely at this point in your career, these are the moments you're maybe defending your title, fighting for your title, maybe getting your first title shot at some point. I know for some people it takes a little longer, right? And, I mean, he lost to Vicente Luque in devastating fashion. He is going to be kicking himself, I think, over that Sean Brady fight, because I think he thinks he could have won that matchup. But it's crazy, too, because before that, he was on a great fucking run. Granted, there was some older guys like Condit, Diego Sanchez, Ortega. But the Neil Magny one was probably it was his best win, and it was a damn good one at that, dude. And Neil Magny since then has recovered with his own win over Jeff Neal. And, obviously Jeff Neal, a lot less experience than him. Obviously, he had to make commitments to become a fighter in recent time and quit his main job and commit to the sport. But regardless, he's still a good competitor, so I don't know, man. What do you think happens here with Michael Chiesa, Josh? Do you think he takes a big step back in competition? Do you think they maybe push him against another guy who's above him? Does he fight Wonder Boy? What does he do?
The thing about Chiesa is I very rarely do I feel overly bad for fighters, because this is the business that they're in. They're fighting in the UFC, and it's pretty noteworthy. The UFC, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and outright say it in case you guys are not aware. The UFC does not give a fuck about you. They will use you up and spit you out the first second that they can get. We saw, how they treat normal fighters? Imagine how they treat I messed up what I was trying to say there. You know how they treated Anderson Silva? A literal one of the greatest of all time. They kicked him out the door on his ass, shitted on him outside, like on the way out. Same thing for GSP, same thing you do for all these legends. No matter how they treat fighters that are not like that behind the scenes, they're probably going to treat Malcolm Chiesa the same way. I'm expecting him to go ahead and fight probably another brutal prospect after this. You know what I mean? He won't fight Jemiah, but what's... No, they wouldn't fight Hazmat, but what's the other cat's name? Shavkat Ramonov? Is that his name? Yeah, probably him. Like, that's just how they treat these guys. And that's what I feel really bad for Chiesa because, dude, he was so close.
By the way, that guy's so fucking good, too.
Yeah, and he's so good, but, like, he was so close. He took on the boogeyman, Vicente Luque, the guy that nobody wants to fight. You know, everybody ducks Luque. It's just kind of a known thing at this point. There's a reason why he had to fight so many lower-ranked guys for so long, because nobody wanted to fight him. And then finally Chiesa gives him that shot because he needed a title shot, and he wanted to fight the toughest guy that was available. And now the same thing happened here. He wanted to fight the toughest guy that was available, which happens to be a beast of a prospect in Sean Brady, you know? And so now he's lost 2 in a row. They're probably going to feed him to some absolute monster next. And that's the tough reality of the business, the tough reality of the UFC. What do I think should happen? I think he should probably take a step back, fight a lower ranked guy, somebody on the bottom half of the top 15. What will probably happen is he'll probably fight a beast of a prospect.
Fight D-Rod.
Yeah, I mean, well, you hear what's going on with D-Rod?
No, I don't. What is it? What's going on?
I guess he was informed that, I guess he talked to the doctor, and I guess there's something wrong with, like, his hands.
Oh,
he's either going to have to go ahead and get surgery and be out for quite a while, or he's going to have to stop striking as much. I guess his hands are really fucked up.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so that sucks. But yeah, so as far as him fighting D-Rod exactly, that probably won't happen. But at least in regards to him fighting a prospect, I would virtually guarantee that's going to happen next. Which is just unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, dude, it sucks. Overall, I feel pretty much the same I feel about, same way coming out about Sean Brady. If anything, I feel better because the adversity he had to fight through showed his character a lot. And also, I remember he got like a really bad infection in like his leg and he lost his foot like somewhat recently. So it's not like, and it's also his first fight in a long time, so on and so forth. So I feel a lot of people were pretty harsh on him coming out of it. And he didn't even move up to, the rankers saw it the same way. They didn't even move him up into Chiesa's spot. He's ranked number 8 now. So they really did not rate him that highly coming off of that win. But regardless, dude, looking down the card, what are some of these fights, aka what are some of the decisions you want to talk about?
What do you mean, Josh? There was one finish on this card.
There was one finish. Let's go. Let's just hit that one. Talia Santos.
Versus now Joanne Wood.
Joanne, that's so funny to me. Joanne Wood, normally known as Joanne Calderwood. At first I thought she shortened the name. No, nope. She married a guy with the last name of Wood. Isn't that fucking...
Yep, she skipped her money. I think she skipped the honeymoon for this, right?
I believe so.
She said she was going to do the honeymoon after getting the nice win, which that got spoiled real badly.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you think Talia Santos, after her last couple fights, you saw her dominate Modafferi on the mat, you saw her pretty much knock out Joanne Wood on the feet, and then she ended up getting the submission, pretty much, but she beat her down on the feet. Do you think, she's now ranked number 5, she's 19-1, do you think she might be able to pose some sort of issue to Valentina Shevchenko?
I mean...
At all?
I think at this point, I say this about every fighter every time she goes, I think actually she might actually give her the best competition at this point, out of all these girls. And theoretically, she could be 20-0. She had that split decision loss a while ago. I don't remember how it went off the top of my head, but that's also a thing to think about. And I don't know. I'd just be curious. I'm curious to see how it is. She's one of those girls I've always kept my eye on. Don't really bring her up a lot, but it's looking like her time. But for some reason, I feel like it's going to sound weird, Josh. I feel like they're going to make her fight one more fucking time for some reason.
I think they're probably going to as well. And that's really, I don't think it's anything they have against her. I think it's probably just because they're waiting to see what happens with Nunes. And if Nunes beats, Juliana Pena, they're going to go ahead and do that Nunes-Shevchenko trilogy. I think that's probably why.
Yeah.
But Shevchenko's super active and like really, really active, dude. Like she almost has, doesn't it feel like not that long ago say that again?
She fights twice a year, dude. Like for a while now, she's fought twice a year.
Yeah, but that's kind of not exactly indicative of everything, just because of COVID and everything. I mean, if you look back across her career, right?
I was saying there's a negative thing. I was saying she fought twice a year. That's pretty active for some people in the UFC.
For champions, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She somehow fit in 2 fights in COVID, fit in 2 fights in 2021. She fought 3 times within a year, from 2018 to 2019. So, yeah, she's relatively active. But notice how she doesn't have a single fight announcement. I think they're really just banking on Nunes winning so they can finally do that trilogy. And I've held this opinion for a while now. They're gonna regret that because that fight's gonna suck.
You think so?
Dude, the first fight was fun, but
how long has it been since that second fight?
5 years.
Oh, dude, it has to be better. No fucking way.
I don't know, dude. I really think people are gonna be disappointed.
Is it 5 years? You're telling me that it's
dude, that
not
second fight was so bad. It was so bad.
It can't be worse than Derrick Lewis and Gania.
Well, yeah, it's the worst fight of all time. I don't think there's a whole lot that can that's a really bad standard to use for bad fights. That's
but we're talking about bad fights. I'm not going to bring up the worst one ever.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, but it's
no, I'm just kidding.
Damn, dude, fuck. It's gonna be a rough one of these. I'd put that together, but yeah, I think Talia dos Santos, if they don't do that, she should get a title shot. She's looked dominant in every other fight outside of that first one in the UFC. Every other fight, she's looked dominant. She beat the piss out of Roxanne. She finished
She's retiring soon.
I know, which is a shame.
It makes sense, though.
Congrats on a great career, Roxy, friend of the show. Yeah, dude. I mean, other fights on the card, Ronnie Yaya defeating Kung Ho Kang.
I ended up being a banger,
You texted me about that. Do you think Ronnie lost that fight?
No, I heard someone talking about it, and I had missed some of the rounds, and I texted because I was like, Josh is watching it, so I'm sure he'll be able to give me a good input on it.
Yeah, and then I just texted back, no. I didn't see any controversy with that one. I was surprised somebody would have thought that.
Well, apparently, like I told you, I missed some of the fight, and I heard that on the feed it was looking bad for him, and he had gotten touched a fair bit. So I don't know if there was maybe a 10-8 rounder there or something. So that's why I texted on the feet
at one point, but he ended up getting. He was fine. It was only one real moment that was kind of scary.
Yeah, so that's why I texted you because I was like, I heard some people. I saw something on Twitter where I just had to text you because I didn't know what was going on fully at the time. So I'm like, here, I'll get Josh's input real quick.
Fair enough. But yeah, dude, also on the card, Adrian Yanez picking up a nice win over David Grant. Split decision. Really, really weird split decision, too. Thought it was a pretty clear 29-28, but regardless, it's still probably the best fight of the card.
Banger.
Rafa Garcia picked up the win. Lupita Godinez, absolute boss. After round 1, I believe, she's in the corner and her fighting against Loma Looking B, and she looks at her coach, she's like, I don't think I can fight next week, guys. Like,
no.
She's a G though. Love Lupita Godinez. Cody Durden picking up a nice win, attracting a lot of fans, a lot of hate as well. I don't think we're going to dive into the whole controversy because I really don't care about what Cody Durden says. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. I mean, he was a guy that was on the chopping block had he would have lost his fight, and I thought he did lose that fight anyways to Khalil Angori. So, yeah, I thought he did. I thought it was a pretty clear 29-28. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Yeah, this card sucked. I mean, I'm you know me, Angel. I'm kind of an MMA hipster. I watch almost everything. The Fury FC card that I watched the night after was substantially better. Like,
really?
Yeah, and it wasn't even close. This card really.
I had a lot of fun watching One Championship as well.
Yeah, I have fun watching. I'm almost any other card recently. This is probably my least favorite card in MMA history, at least for right now.
There's been worse ones. There's been
worse ones, but ones that like stick out in the moment. Like I'm thinking, even like what's another bad one? Verdum Tybor from a couple of years back on FS1. That was terrible, but I don't know, man. Like this was really, really bad. Anyways, moving on though to stuff that will not be bad. Angel, it is time for the Courtside Soundoff Fantasy Bantamweight. MMA.
Fell there a bit, buddy. You good?
I know I did, dude. Oh fuck, dude. I'm out of it. I would
say did you have a stroke, but I could get canceled for that.
I'm gonna have to bleep out this entire part, bro. I'm gonna have to bleep out the entire part. We don't have to talk about the cancellations on the show. we don't want to draw any attention to ourselves. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do the fantasy MMA bantamweight draft. Obviously we did do this back in May for the vacant lightweight title. This week there's not a whole lot going on, so this seemed like a fun little topic that we can go ahead and do. And also since Bantamweight's it's a hot division right now, my guy. I mean, obviously we got, Rob Font, Jose Aldo going on next weekend. A couple weeks back we had an interim title fight. It's honestly, I mean, for my money, I think right now, probably the best division in the UFC. It's just look top to bottom. I mean, fuck dude. We just saw Adrian Yanez, Davey Grant, who were not even ranked guys, not even in the top 15, not even probably in the top 25, put on an absolute banger. Like, it's a phenomenal division right now. And I feel like it just made all the sense in the world for us to go ahead and do bantamweight. So, Angel, I believe last time I had the first overall pick, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to be a nice guy. Angel,
well, I feel like this is how it should be, because technically I lost. We're going to do this shit like the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL. The shittiest team goes first, right?
Okay, yeah, fine. So the shittiest team, which will be yours, you can go ahead and go first.
Well, it's going to be the greatest team now, and I'm not going to have the first overall pick next time we do this.
No, you will not. Okay,
well,
fine.
I'm starting off hot. I'm picking up.
We gotta let the fans determine this. As always, guys, vote on Twitter and Instagram. I completely dominated the polls last time.
Which is bullshit, just so everybody knows.
As did Trump against Sleepy Joe Biden. Use code CHAOS to chat.
Well, you're lucky, Josh. I didn't have 6ix9ine in my pep rally to hype me up.
Okay, anyway, we got a bit off topic, but
don't worry, I'll have Kobe. I'm gonna call Kobe. I'll have Kobe promoting my team this week. Just you fucking wait. Wait till I see you next time. Wait till I see you next time. Wait till I see you next time, Josh.
Angel, get closer. Get closer. Use code CHAOS at website not to be named because they don't pay me enough money.
Because we're not sponsored.
Because we're not sponsored by them.
And no hate, it's not as good as other options.
You know, I had somebody hit me up. This is actually kind of a funny story to tell. I had somebody hit me up about like a previous sponsor that was on the show, and they asked like, why are you now sponsored by Rogue Energy whenever you used to be sponsored by blank? And I was like, well, it's more recent, so it tastes better, you know? Like, they pay more, so.
Did you have another sponsor? I don't remember who that other sponsor was. Just to show how relevant they were to us.
Exactly. I'll text you later. Yeah, so.
Okay.
So anyways.
Definitely, I'm curious now.
So anyways, Angel, obviously your team sucked last time. You lost, got dominated. Same like you're going to get dominated this week.
Oh, dude, no, it's not.
But I'll go ahead and let you go first overall pick. Angel Ortega.
You already heard me, bro. Don't act stupid. You already heard me. I said Dom Cruz. Don't fuck
Oh, you said Dom Cruz?
Off the bat. I'm starting off hot.
I didn't even hear you, dude. I'm sorry. My bad. Taking that absolute scrub, Dominic Cruz, off the board. Obviously, former two-time UFC Bantamweight champion, former WEC Bantamweight champion, Dominic Cruz, holding a career record of 23-3, then that'll be 23-4 after today, whenever the polls are done. I'm gonna go ahead and take my man TJ the Snake Dillashaw,
the CEO of EPO. No surprise.
CEO of EPO, TJ Dillashaw, career record 17-4. All right, former UFC Bantamweight champion. All right, this man, if you look throughout his career, comes back to that scrub Corey Sandhagen. This guy is just tremendous. One of the greatest of all time. Had it not been for that EPO somehow getting in his veins, we'd be all saying that he's the greatest bantamweight of all time.
Just magically got into him, didn't it?
Just magically got in there. Okay? My man is totally not on the Sazul. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to go and take TJ Dillashaw, number 1 overall. Angel, I pass the baton back to you. What scrub are you going to pick next?
Oh, what scrub am I going to pick next? Dude, I'm going to pick one of the greatest to ever compete in this division, Renan Barão, who got his career sadly damaged by the CEO of EPO, TJ Dillashaw.
You know what? That's actually a very good pick. I'm not even gonna bullshit. That's a very good pick. I normally talk bad about these guys just for fun, just to joke around. Renan Barão is one of my all-time favorites. I'm gonna be honest. Of like the bantamweight division.
God, he shouldn't fight again, should he?
If you guys talk bad about Renan Barão, we're gonna have some beef, dude. People say like, oh yeah, he fell down because you saw it. No, it's because TJ juiced up. Gave him 2 life-changing beatings. Like, if you guys have not watched that fight, first one was competitive up until like the 3rd round. Second one was like the most vicious beating. I love like a championship level, like 2 really good fighters in a long time. So yeah, good pick though. Obviously, career record of 34-9. At one point, I think it was 33-1. So that just shows you how things kind of turn near the end of his career. But yeah, Renan Barão, former interim champion, former bantamweight champion. Good pick on here. I'll give you that one. I'm going to go ahead and take Uriah Faber, former WEC Bantamweight champion, former King of the Cage bantamweight champion, multiple-time UFC title challenger, UFC Hall of Famer, the California Kid, Uriah Faber, now off the board. Career record 35-11. Retired, maybe, I don't know. I haven't heard from Uriah in a long time. And now also putting his stamp on the game right now as a coach. So, yeah, Uriah Faber, one of the GOATs. I'm taking him second overall.
Dude, I'm just going to fire these shots out here, Josh. I'm picking the greatest combat athlete of all time, Henry Cejudo. Former gold medalist, 2-time champ. You know the vibes.
You know the vibes. I'm a little bit surprised you're picking Cejudo. I gotta be honest.
It's for the culture. It's for the culture. I really think it's one of those cultural picks because we had this conversation at one point, Josh. I mean, if we're talking about athletes, people who've competed in this sport, he does have probably the most impressive resume of all time. On paper, put together with all his accolades across from wrestling, obviously to MMA, and kind of what he did in that time, and beating my boy DJ sadly, and following up with the Sergio Pettis win, Wilson Hayes finish, finishing TJ on when he was on EPO. Putting out Marlon Moraes, which I picked against him in that fight, and then also beating Dominic Cruz. Obviously, had been after a layoff, but still a fucking legend in that weight class. I mean, he took out some names and guys in there who are former champs, could have been champs and future champs in some who later became future champs. Talking about Sergio Pettis.
Of course. And yeah, dude. I mean, look, I can't necessarily argue against Cejudo. Obviously, 16-2 lifetime. He did only fight a bantamweight for a very small portion of his career.
Hey, you did me dirty on one of these though last time because I already talked about this before, so I at least get one of these picks like this.
Okay, no, I'm not complaining about it because if you're going to take Henry Cejudo, who fought at bantamweight for a small portion of his career, I'm going to take the man who beat Henry Cejudo. I'm going to take Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, career record of 30-4, fought for the UFC bantamweight title, the greatest fighter of all time by my metric. I'm going to go ahead and take Demetrius Johnson off the board, third overall.
That's my go.
I mean, look, I have him number 2 or number 1. You can ask me depending on just how I'm feeling that day. Yeah, DJ is one of the GOATs. I understand, since we're going by the metric of, I think even if DJ stayed at bantamweight, right? He didn't go down to flyweight. Did he just stay here? I still think he'd be in the conversation. Because even at bantamweight, he was still very, very good. People talk about oh yeah, he was bad at bantamweight or whatever. That's not true at all. Demetrius Johnson, it's like an urban legend. He was a title challenger at bantamweight. And I think if had he stayed there, he still would have been good because he improved over time at flyweight too. People forgot I think he had a split decision against Dodson the first time around. Similar case for Benavidez the first time around. He smashed those guys in a rematch. So he got better over time. I think DJ stayed at bantamweight. He'd be in the GOAT conversation. I'm going to go and pick him third overall, my guy. Who do you got at next?
I'm picking someone who sadly didn't reach that gold in the UFC, was eclipsed by it. Picking Joseph Benavidez, recently retired. Amazing guy, amazing career. Picking Joe Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu, that's a good pick there, obviously. One of the rare guys, I mean, if you're talking MMA, there's a list of guys that never won a UFC title, and it's a long list. But a lot of those guys captured titles outside of the UFC. Benavidez didn't. He's one of those rare dudes. He wasn't in Strikeforce, obviously. He got close in the WEC, but he never won the belt. He's a lot like Cowboy in that attribute. A lot of these guys we talk about, for example, Faber is put in that conversation. But at least Faber had King of the Cage titles, WEC titles, so on and so forth to fall back on. Joe Benavidez never had that. I will go and side with you on that one. I think that's a damn fine pick. But since I mentioned WEC, I think it's only fair to pick the WEC GOAT, Miguel Torres. Miguel Torres, 44-9, long-time bantamweight champion for the WEC. For my money, there's a lot of fighters that are underrated historically, but I think Torres is very much up there in terms of all-time underrated. He defended the title 4 times. He beat Takeya Mizugaki. Notably is his last title defense. He's beaten a lot of dudes overall. He started his career at 37-1. He fell down in the latter half of his career as he got older. But yeah, dude, I'm gonna go ahead and take Miguel Torres. Unfortunately, he never won a UFC title either. He got close. Had he beat DJ at UFC 130, he would have got a title shot. I thought he won that fight. All the way back in 2011. Had he won that, he would have fought Dominic Cruz. Fortunately, he didn't. But hey, I'm still gonna go and take Miguel Torres, and he's now off the board. Angel, who do you got?
Well, I'm picking a long-time commodity, a guy who never fought in the UFC, but has competed all his life outside of UFC. Did fight former UFC fighters, competed in Dream, has competed pretty much all his career and won. I'm picking Bibiano Fernandez.
Bibiano Fernandez, 24-4.
He was supposed to fight this year, man.
He is 24-4. I think probably the greatest fighter outside of the UFC presently. I mean, he's in the conversation, and you can argue all time as well.
And he's 41.
Yeah, he's a monster, absolute monster. Especially to be doing it at that age, and to still be champion in one. And for my money, like the one, the higher you go with one, the worse it gets in terms of competition. Like Brandon Vera was champ for like 5 years, but
Grant, he didn't fight for a grand portion of that too.
Yeah, that's because of how bad the division was. I mean, I love a lot of those. I love Elaine Nagani. I love, a boy Rugru, but the one heavyweight division is terrible. And the higher up you go, the worse it gets. But those lower weight classes, dude, flyweight, bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, they got a bunch of bangers in them. And the fact that Bibiano Fernandez has been champion for so long there, it's a pure testament to his character and how good he is. So yeah, I like that pick, dude. Nice outside pick. But, I think it's only fair if we're going to go ahead and take him. I'm going to go and take No Mercy, Piotr Jan, 16-2, soon to be two-time UFC Bantamweight champion, currently just beat Corey Sandhagen a couple of weeks back, my guy. So there we go, Piotr Jan now off the board, current interim champion, and maybe the guy that pushed me over the hump. I'm sure a lot of you listeners are like, oh, this sounds pretty even. But now you got Piotr Jan, yeah, it kind of makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah. Okay, Josh, I see you're bringing the heat, so I need to respond back with someone who I think once he's retired, and he's still going to be fighting for a long time, but right now, I feel like he fully doesn't get the love he deserves, but he will soon if things start going in the right direction here soon enough. I'm picking Kyoji Horiguchi, Josh, 29-3, currently 31 years young. Compete against some of the best at a very young age. Obviously fought in the UFC, now fighting in Bellator, making his, I guess, technically promotional debut, right? Because he did fight in it before. Former Rising competitor. I mean, at a very young age, this man fought Demetrius Johnson, was fighting some of the best. He was a young stud, man, and he's still doing it now, and now he's going to get a shot in Bellator, and he'll be able to show the world how truly great he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what, dude? That's fair. Horiguchi, obviously, he was somebody I actually had as kind of like an outside pick. I respect that. I was 29-3, like you mentioned, Rising champion, Bellator champion. He got close to capturing the UFC title. Not necessarily, but, had a bit of bantamweight. Maybe a different salary, but unfortunately he ran into the GOAT, so it happens. Yeah, dude, that's a nice pick. And so I am deciding, since you're going to go and take Horiguchi, who actually was going to be my next up, I think I'm going to pick the bane of your existence. I'm going to go and take Aljamain Sterling, the current UFC Bantamweight champion, 20-3. He's really a victim of the moment, which I've always said. If you look throughout his career, Aljamain Sterling has some incredible wins, dude. Obviously he's 23, current champion, but even prior to that, Sandhagen, Pedro Munoz, Jimmy Rivera, Cody Stamann, Renan Barão, Takeya Mizugaki. Like, he's beaten some absolute beasts, and it's a shame what's happening with him right now, just a lot of the hate he's getting. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Aljamain Sterling, dude.
Alright, that's a solid pick there. I dig it. I respect it. I really need to sprung back here, Josh, and I'm going to pick someone here who beat Aljamain Sterling. Someone who actually finished Aljamain Sterling. Someone who has recently had kind of a downfall. But prior to their downfall, man, they had beaten guys like Rafael Assunção, Jimmy Rivera, John Dodson, Josh Hill. I mean, there's more guys. I'm picking Marlon Moraes.
That's a good pick there. That's a good pick. Former World Series of Fighting champion. Like you mentioned, his downfall has been really tragic. And just to make sure I'm counting correctly, that's your sixth pick, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just make sure I'm on track. Okay, yeah, that's a nice pick, especially as we go on. A lot of these guys are going to kind of fall back more. There's going to be less availability. So that's a nice pick. Their former World Series of Fighting champion. one of the most entertaining bantamweights, I think, of the modern era. I think he's never been in a bad fight. So that's a nice pick there. I see that. And, we're talking about guys that, outside of the UFC that I feel like never really, he did fight in the UFC, but I feel like he never really got his due. And I think a lot of that comes down to how quickly he fell. But I'm going to go and take Brian Bowles. 10-3. The record doesn't really say enough. Former WEC champion. He knocked out Miguel Torres. He beat Takeya Mizugaki. He fought Uriah Faber in the UFC. Had he won that, he would have fought for the bantamweight title. Ultimately, it was his own personal demons that led him to getting released to the UFC and kind of being lost to history. But for a brief period of time, Brian Bowles was the greatest bantamweight on the planet. I'm going to go and take Brian Bowles with my 6th pick.
I'm torn with my last pick here, man, because there's a number of guys who competed in this division who are fucking amazing, and now I find myself in this weird spot because I'm kind of like, I'm coming down to these guys who haven't achieved the titles, but they're staples of the division. They've competed a long time, and I need to give this guy what credit is due. I need to give him a shot because this guy actually has a win over T.J. Dillashaw, and it's Rafael Assunção, Josh. You got to put some respect on the man's name.
Yeah, he was in my on my list of guys to potentially hit. Had you not taken him, I was probably going to do it. But since you're going to take the guy who did beat T.J. Dillashaw, albeit via pretty bad decision in Brazil.
Same.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and follow that up by taking with the last pick. What's the thing they call it in the NFL? Mr. Irrelevant. The last pick, former UFC bantamweight champion Cody No Love Garbrandt.
You know what's funny? That was going to be my pick, but I was like, nah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it, dude. Cody No Love, I talked about it on the pre-call. He's the guy that I'm not very high on, but I left him out there just because I understand that, like, his collapse has been very unfortunate. It's been very fast, very sudden. But at the same time, if you were to ask me, like, who, like, if you were to, like, stack a bantamweight just on certain fights, I'm like, I don't know if there's a single man that beats Cody Garbrandt on the night of UFC 207. I don't care who he fights. That was one of the greatest performances of all time. But even then, he's got other nice wins. Outside of Dominic Cruz, obviously, Assunção, like you just mentioned. Takeya Mizugaki was a good win. Thomas Almeida was a good win. Marcus Brimage was a good win. He's beaten a lot of good dudes. So yeah, dude, I'm going to go and take Cody No Love with my last pick. And, so that concludes the draft, Angel. So I'm sure you feel pretty bad now. I'm sure you're just expecting to get absolutely wrecked on the polls as always.
I feel so confident, man. I think I built a solid team.
Jokes aside, I gotta ask, do you have anybody left on the board?
Oh yeah.
Who is it?
Who I didn't pick?
Yeah.
Oh, like on my thing. Oh, I still had Jimmy Rivera, John Lineker, and Mizugaki.
I have, Joe Warren, former 2-division Bellator champion. And honestly, if I could go back, I probably would have swapped out Warren for Bowles to kind of have like one hipster pick. Because Joe Warren was like legitimately one of the greatest bantamweights on the planet from 2009 to 2012. He was the 2-weight champion in Bellator whenever that actually meant something. Because back in the day, Bellator, they had the tournament. You had to go through the tournament in order to become the champion. And he had to do that. He did that like 3 times. He went through bantamweight and featherweight twice, I think. His record's 15-8. That's just because he got really washed by the end of his career. And the other guy I had on the board was Eddie Weiland, the former WEC champ.
Eddie Weiland, that's so crazy that guy was champ.
Not really. I mean, it was kind of...
Oh, now knowing him now, not knowing him back then.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, so that kind of concludes it. We'll go and put the poll up Friday. We'll leave it up for probably a couple of days, and we'll come back and talk about it the following week. So, yeah. But, Angel, moving on, my guy. There was some boxing that went ahead and happened. And it was honestly, it's kind of rare. This felt like a big one. It felt like super consequential. And for a lot of time in boxing, we have like super mandatories, like, Teofimo's fighting this weekend against George Kambosos. I don't know anybody that cares.
I care.
I mean, I'm going to watch it, but like in terms of like relevant, like it's not super relevant. Outside of the fact that just Teofimo's fighting. That's probably not the best example to use, but we have all these stupid mandatories. There's a lot of bad fights in boxing. Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter felt big. It's kind of rare to have that big fight feeling. But whenever there's a big fight feeling, in Vegas, dude, there's nothing like it. And the Terrence Bud Crawford, one of the top pound-for-pound boxers on the planet, defeating Shawn Porter, finishing him for the first time in his career. Obviously, Porter retired post-fight. Angel, my guy, what are your first thoughts about the fight? And then also, how did you score it going into the 10th round stoppage, which we will get to later?
I mean, I still thought it was relatively close. I mean, I have the scorecards in front of me that the judges have. I mean, I pretty much had it relatively the same. Maybe I'd argue some rounds that I would have gave, but no controversy. I mean, I think the fight was going in a certain direction by the end of it, and it was going to be close on the card to an extent, but I felt like you knew who was winning.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I personally had it. I know that two of the judges, if I'm remembering correctly, two of the judges had it 86-85, and then one of them had it something like 87-84, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah. So they had it all very, very close, and I believe those were all for Bud Crawford. I had it 86-85. And dude, I saw some footage that came out earlier today, and it was like them talking to him in the corner before the 9th round, and they were like, "Yeah, you're losing on the cards." He's like, "I'm losing," and he just kind of like gives like a nonchalant look, like, "All right, here we go." And then round 9, which is such a turning point, he put it on him, didn't get a knockdown. Then round 10 comes out in the opening seconds, puts him down. He gets up, and then he puts him down again 30 seconds later. And then Kenny Porter, Shawn Porter's dad, steps up, throws in the towel.
Good parent.
What were your thoughts on the stoppage, man? I know a lot of people were very pissed off about it.
I mean, you know something? I mean, that's his family, right? That's always going to play a factor into it. Maybe he would have done it soon. It might have not been soon if it wasn't family. But maybe he saw something that we didn't, that he knew meant he's not in this fight anymore. You know what I mean? Even though it was close on the cards, maybe he felt like there's something there. You know, there's no one who knows you better than your family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. And at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. But you know, retirement came afterwards. It was a bit sad to see him go because he was a staple in this division, a really fun guy. And, you know, it was a great bout. A hell of a statement for Bud Crawford. I mean, like I said, he's going to come out here and have to make a statement, and he fucking did, man.
Hmm. Yeah, fair enough, dude. I thought it was honestly an okay stoppage. In the moment, I didn't. I was unhappy about it because, dude, you cannot tell me the visual of Shawn Porter getting knocked down and, like, punching the canvas. I'm like, holy shit, this is some rocket shit right now. Like, and I got a little bit caught up in the moment. I'm like, oh man, Shawn Porter, he's about as close as you can get. He's a dog. Straight up dog. And I knew I was like, oh man, he's gonna fight to the end, about to get an all-time finish here. And then his dad steps up and waves it off, and I was like, fuck. But after thinking about it,
Josh is like, if I was in the corner, I would have been Teddy fucking Atlas. He would have came back, and I would have been like, we're firemen.
We are firemen. Like,
he put fires out.
I gotta admit, I've watched that clip way too many times.
It's fucking comedy, dude.
Complete comedy. But yeah, I mean, in the moment, I was kind of a little upset, and then I thought about it a little bit more. I took the emotions out. I'm like, dude, Terrence Crawford put him down twice in a minute, and there was a lot of time left in that round. And Crawford's one of the best finishers in the game. He let himself get into the brawl a little bit, which led to him losing a couple of rounds.
But fuck it.
But like round 8, 9, 10, dude, he turned it on. He was like, all right, I'm not losing tonight. Like that's the stuff that legends are made of. Like that kind of just flipping the switch. He's like, all right, I'm not fucking losing tonight. Like after round 9, where his coach told him he was down, and then he gets to finish in round 10, it did not matter if he was going to get up again. He was probably going to get sent right back down. So yeah, in hindsight, I'm kind of cool with the stoppage.
God, Josh.
Yeah, I mean,
I know people die.
No, I don't want to see people die, but I mean that was a very close fight.
Josh, I know, Josh. I mean, I know it's probably never die, but Jesus, have some sense.
I mean, all I know, it was a very, very close fight, and you know, in the moment, I thought that he didn't look that hurt. It looked like he was kind of just got hit by one shot. He was off balance. He was kind of crouching down, and he like slammed his. He had enough wherewithal to actually like realize, damn, I fucked up. Like he had that wherewithal. He seemed mentally there, but at the same time. If I take the emotions out of it, it's more about the stoppage was more about what was going to come rather than what actually already had previously happened. So if you look at it through that lens, you know, that's all right. It's all right. Moving forward, there's nothing else to say about this outside of the fact that it has to be Errol Spence next. Have you seen the clip of Errol Spence seeing the knockout and then immediately running out though?
Yeah, he's like, fucking get out of here before he calls me out.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I thought that was very, very weird. But obviously, I don't know exactly everything that went on there. So, we'll hopefully see that one next. I know that he is going to be leaving Top Rank because he just Bob Arum hates him because Bob Arum says he's been losing money on him, and he's like, you haven't done anything to make me into a star, and so on and so forth. This fight really didn't make much money either. It only made about 190. No, excuse me. It made 190,000 pay-per-view buys, and I've actually saw another report earlier today that it might actually be like more like 150. So yeah, Bud really needs to turn into a star sooner rather than later if they want to make that.
Shit, if you're selling pay-per-views, though, that's still like a couple $1 million. So
that's true. Boxing outside of Canelo, dude, they're in a hurting for stars. Outside of obviously the GOAT Jake Paul who fights and
yeah, the GOAT Jake Paul and Fury, and that's probably it.
Yeah, but even Fury, I think they did about 600,000, which is less than what the UFC did this past weekend. So
still a lot of money though.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, dude, moving on. This is going to be the last topic of the show unless there's anything I'm forgetting, which is absolutely possible.
I mean, Dan Hooker made 45.
That's our big news, that Dan Hooker's going to kill himself and go down to 145 again.
I mean, he did a test weight cut, so he must have done something different this time.
Fair enough. I did see that he did make the weight cut. Isn't that going to be a little bit weird? I don't think like his issue is that he's like small at 155. I think that's a really weird decision.
I've always thought he's one of those guys that should have always gone up.
Yeah, I mean and also at featherweight he was not very good at all. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but like
he got finished at featherweight multiple times.
He lost to Jason Knight. He lost to Yair, Maximo Blanco. Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
But he did better at 155 than he did 145, right?
Yeah, he did much better. I mean, outside of this 4-fight stretch, he lost to Poirier in an absolute war. Very close fight. He got knocked out by Chandler. It happens. Got caught once. It happens. Beats Nasrat Haqparast. Very good win. And then he lost to Islam on super short notice. It is what it is. I don't understand why he's
He's like, just think, fuck it. I'm chopping off my leg to make 45 now. I'm tired of these 155ers hurting my feelings. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean. It is a weird, like, change up, like, it's like, why? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it's a weird decision for him to make. Honestly, I just do not agree with it. I don't understand guys like that, because he looks huge at 155, so why are you gonna make, anyways, besides the point. This is not really much of a preview for this final topic, but it's more just like a discussion. And kind of like gauging the interest level. Because if I had not been following this story very closely, I would have completely forgot it was happening this weekend. Nonetheless, Triller Triad Combat, completely ripping off my man Dada 5000's idea, they're going to go ahead and stage fights inside a triangle cage. But it's not going to be MMA or bare knuckle. It's going to be boxing with mixed rules on pay-per-view at the Global Life Stadium in Houston. Metallica is going to be opening the card for some reason because they've yet to realize nobody fucking wants music involved with boxing. In the main event, Frank Mir versus Kubrat Pulev. Mike Perry's going to be fighting. He's supposed to fight Saki Ibaka, who's actually a very, very good boxer. Had to pull out. Now he's fighting Michael Seals at 175. And also Alexander Flores, who is mostly known for being that guy that took a duck against Luis Ortiz, is going to be fighting Matt Mitrione in the co-main. These are weird rounds. Main event, 9 rounds. Everything else, 7. Yeah, weird. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot of preview here. I mean, I'll ask for your thoughts on the fights themselves in a minute, but do you have quite literally any interest whatsoever in this event this weekend?
Yeah, we'll see how, like, the rules and everything work. I want to see the strategy going into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Would you be interested? Is this a card that you would go to your local Buffalo Wild Wings tour?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Okay, alright, fair enough.
How much does it cost, just out of curiosity?
I have no idea. I don't, for whatever reason, it's probably because I shit talked the last event, which understandably so, but I'm no longer on Triller's mailing list, so I don't.
Yeah, they probably,
They probably did not like the preview we did.
It's $20. I'd spend $20 on it.
Really? It's that little?
Yeah, okay. It's only $20. Standalone.
Okay, that's not. Yeah,
that's respectable. You know something? That's actually very respectable. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you were, another guy, another homie, nothing weird. There's no wrong thing with being with another guy. Just to make that clear. But you know what I mean, right? You know, you split it 2 ways, $10 each, just to watch this kind of interesting thing. Maybe see some guys get knocked out. I mean, that seems pretty legit to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what that's better than? Did you hear about what's, there's going to be a pay-per-view boxing match on January 1st. You know what it is?
What is it?
For $40, you can watch Luis Ortiz against King Charles Martin in an IBF title eliminator.
Dude, it's a title eliminator there, Josh.
I know, right? I'm such a dumbass. Complete. But that's, I'd prefer to spend $20 on this than $40 on that. So from that metric.
Oh, I agree. From
that metric, it kind of works out. And the metric of I don't want to spend any money, you know, that's more than likely what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go to my local Buffalo Wild Wings for this one.
I'd be down to buy this one. They can get my money.
Yeah. So, conflicting opinion on that one, but as far as the fights themselves, you know, what do you think of the main event, dude? It's a weird one. Frank Mir obviously lost to Steve Cunningham in a boxing match. I actually thought he showed a great account of himself in that one. Steve Cunningham's older, he's smaller, but still former champion, knocked down Tyson Fury, very good guy. Taking on Kubrat Pulev, who's literally only one fight removed from fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. So
that's what confuses me.
Yeah, so let me just what are your thoughts on this one?
Anything, I'm more confused why Pulev took this, and this isn't like a Badu Jack. You know what I mean? Which I know that's weird to say, because also Badu Jack hasn't been far from a big fights, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what actually I thought about the other day? Badu Jack has been a part of like every single circus fight for the last few years. He's not like a part of it in the terms of like he's fighting, but he was, I think he opened up the card of McGregor Mayweather. He fought on the undercard of Roy and Mike, and then he also fought on the undercard of Floyd versus Logan. Badu Jack has been everywhere, bro.
Shout out
to him. I'm sure he's collecting the bag for it, but damn, it's kind of weird when you think about a guy in his prime doing that. But yeah, this is a weird matchup. I agree with you. I don't understand why Kubrat Pulev is taking this one. I thought at first they were going to do some older guy against Frank Mir or Vitor or something, but this is the result we're getting. So, obviously the rules are that, it's essentially a standard boxing match, but here's the big kicker. You can clinch.
It almost sounds like, you know what it almost sounds like, Josh? It almost sounds like BKFC, but you can actually throw spinning strikes in this. Like, you can throw a spinning back fist and stuff.
Pretty much. It's BKFC with gloves. The BKFC rule set of you can fight in the clinch, you can grab, you can.
But there is spinning strikes though.
There's also spinning shit, which we're huge fans of spinning shit on the show.
But let's be real. Who's really going to do a fucking spinning back fist?
Of the guys in the card, Mike Perry probably.
Do you think so? Who do you think? Let's call it right now.
If I have to look throughout the card, it's either going to be Mike Perry or Albert Tumanov.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I fucking feel so bad for Albert Tumanov that he has to do this.
Fuck it, man. Sometimes you need money.
I know, but like he got cut from the UFC when he really shouldn't have. I mean, he lost to Gunnar Nelson and Leon Edwards back to back, but prior to that, he was on a 6-fight win streak. He has to go to ACB, and he's been trying so hard to get back into the UFC, and they're just like, nah, man, we're good.
And now he's an ACA, and he's like, I'm just not getting paid enough. I know he's a title holder right there.
He is welterweight champ.
He just fought for the title there. He just
look at his resume. It's honestly insane, dude. He's got Lorenz Larkin, Alan Jovan.
How is he not in Bellator? I'm surprised he's not in Bellator or PFL.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Apparently, he's tried really hard to go back to the UFC, and they just told him no.
Yeah, it's weird because he's part of that American top team, you know. So it's like ATT, like perfect connection, you know. But
yeah, it's
just not
it's kind of messed up. But yeah. So anyways, probably him or Mike Perry is going to throw some spinning shit. If I had to bet on it, if you could find a prop bet out there, it's going to be one of those two guys. I didn't know Derek Campos was on this. Wow.
Yeah. It's going to be fuck, man. Do you think those will be their one and only triad card, or do you think they'll be
you know what, dude? After the last show, I really don't know how Triller is still a viable money-making operation. In fact, I'm willing to bet it's not. Because I just saw Frank Mir right now.
By the way, I just saw that they have another card scheduled for...
Who's fighting?
It's George Arias versus Cassius Chaney. Michael Hunter's on this card fighting Mark DeMori.
Mark DeMori. Where have I heard that name before?
Yes.
I think Mark DeMori is a guy. You remember whenever David Hay was coming like out of retirement, like a couple years back, and he was fighting some cans? I'm 99% sure Mark DeMoy was one of those guys.
And I mean, there's some other names, but I don't know any of these people.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think it's probably the last Triad Combat card, just because like
that's a regular boxing card, just so you know.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And before this, they had a regular boxing card too.
Yeah, I think if Triller decides to do these like smaller, low key fights, like the Michael Hunter one, I think it'll be okay. But they keep on doing this weird shit. Like, if you want to have Frank Mir fight Kubrat Pulev, that's okay. You know, why you gotta put it in a cage though? If anything, I prefer mixed rules in a boxing ring.
This is not in a cage. This is in the triangle ring, isn't it?
A triangle cage.
Yeah. Oh, it's a cage? It's actually a cage. What the fuck?
That's why they're getting sued by Dada 5000 right now. Dada 5000, he has his own promotion. It's like the BYB, I think, is what's called, fighting series. And he's suing them right now because he has the Trigon cage.
By the way, their press conference is today. It's at 1 p.m. CST. It just started like an hour ago, so we missed out on that.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I really... Okay, so do you think of the top 3 fights, Mike Perry versus... what's his name? Michael Seals, I believe. And then also, obviously, Muir against Pulev and Alexander Flores against Matt Mitrione. Which of those, like, if you had to wager, if you had to pick, if you had to put your life on it, which of those 3 fights did you feel most comfortable picking the MMA guy? Yeah, I know, it's rough.
I picked Mike Perry. Fuck it. That's my guy. I'm always gonna pick my guy. Also, he can box, too. He can actually throw hands.
He can, but you know anything about Michael Seals?
No, but I'm sure he's fucking a killer, too.
He is older. He's 39. But, this is like almost criminal matchmaking. I'm not gonna lie. He's, cause at least, Saki Obaka was actually really, really good, but he's like 45. Michael Seals is 39. He's 25-3, and he's actually fought at like a world title level. He literally just fought for a title last year. He fought Ildier Alvarez.
I hope Mike Perry really clinches in this and throws some spinning shit.
Yeah, this is borderline criminal matchmaking. Is it possible he could win? Maybe, but good lord, dude. He literally fought for a title last year in January. Like, that's insane.
I mean, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen in this style. And, like you said, you can clinch. Like, we'll have to see how these MMA guys react to that. Like, if they'll be smart. Because they're not going to be breaking the clinch, are they?
No, I don't think so. Unless it's like egregiously you're doing nothing in the clinch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I wonder if they'll be able to break the clinch. And I'm curious to see how these guys react to it. Because it'd be MMA gloves, essentially, right?
It's kickboxing gloves.
Oh, there's a lot, like, I forget it. Like, they look almost like...
Kickboxing gloves you can just, I'd say just Google kickboxing gloves. They're weird. I've never once used a kickboxing glove.
They almost look like normal boxing gloves. I might be drawing a blank here. Let me see.
They're pretty much boxing gloves, but smaller.
They have they're weird. They're like, they have like a weird, I don't know. They're just smaller, essentially. I don't know.
They look weird. I've always thought the kickboxing gloves look weird.
I mean, they also look normal. I don't know. Fuck it. I'm sure it'll work.
Yeah, but so you're gonna go ahead and take your boy Mike Perry. I'm
picking Mike Perry to the dawn of time.
Say that again?
I'll pick Mike Perry to the dawn of time.
Fair enough. Yeah, dude, if I had to put my money on it, like if I go into my head, it's very, very close between Matt Mitrione and Alexander Flores and Muir and Pulev, just because it comes down to how they can handle the clinch. If they're being honest to their word that you're allowed to clinch and pretty much do anything, I think Frank Mir has a very good chance. I'm gonna go take Matt Mitrione though, just because Alexander Flores literally took a dove in his last fight.
Really?
Like, it literally took a dive. I recommend looking up Alexander Flores versus Luis Ortiz.
Dang, he went down first.
I hate to be that guy that says that, but, I mean, he's also, Matt Mitrione's not good, but Alexander Flores is the definition of a can crusher. He's fought 3 good guys throughout his entire career. Ortiz, Parker, and then Charles Martin. He's got knocked out every single time. In the Luis Ortiz fight, I honestly thought it looked like a dive, and I hate
Matt Mitrione's like, finally, dude, I got a chance.
Yeah, I saw Matt Mitrione on Ariel Helwani's show right now. I saw that somebody posted a clip of it, and he was talking shit about the Bellator. He's talking shit about Bellator. I'm like, bro, they let you have a lot more leash than like a lot of places would, bro. You went like 0-6 to end your career there. He was like, I fucking hate Bellator. I'm like, damn, dude.
Fucking hate Bellator. I'm sure Bellator fucking hates you.
Yeah.
And at this point, right?
I guess, dude. I decided to look up Alexander Flores versus Luis Ortiz, and I feel just as good about my pick, dude. Now,
that is a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, go ahead and look it up, Attic. I just recommend it because it's one of the more egregious one.
I will afterwards. I'll react to it off air.
Fair enough. Yeah, dude. It's a weird card.
I'm picking my favorite for the upset though. Just you fucking wait, Josh. Right fucking meow.
Right fucking meow. Yeah. He's an alright pick. Like I said, I'm gonna go and take Matt Mitrione.
It's weird, dude. I need to see how it works. All I don't know. Because it seems like it's almost regular boxing, but it's like, are they going to let him clinch? Like, how effective are the spinning, like, back fists going to be? Like, are the guys going to react to it well? With gloves, there's obviously more protection, so it's not going to be the same as if it would have been, like, an MMA type glove. Like, this is all shit I'm curious about.
Exactly. Yeah, and I get that. And honestly, I'm probably, if I'm being completely honest here, even with the rule changes, I'm still probably going to take the boxing guys to sweep. If I'm being completely honest, I think the only one that might be able to do it is Scott Sigmund is a guy that's his record 36-15. He actually fought Roy Jones in his last fight and got completely bodied by like a 48-year-old Roy Jones. So yeah, maybe him, possibly. I don't know though. So yeah, it's such a weird card. So if, like I said, of the top options, I'd probably pick Matt Mitrione.
What about our boy Stephen Graham and Harry down here, dude? I know they're like not like known guys, but Stephen Graham, he's out of KCBGJ, which funny enough is like down the street from where I live. He's 10-3 in MMA or 10-5 in MMA. My bad. He's 30 years young. He's fighting this guy named Harry, who is 26 and is 8-3 in boxing.
Yeah, I don't know anything about these guys outside of the fact that fights out of, KC. So shout out hometown boy. I take it back. That guy's going to win.
There you go.
He's our pick.
Stephen Graham, we got to pick the hometown pick. Let's go, champ.
Got to pick the boy, hometown kid. Let's go, champ. Yeah, dude. I mean, as far as the show is there anything else we can talk about before we close out?
I don't know, dude. I am going to definitely watch that. I'm curious to see how it goes. I might drop the $20 on it because it's just $20, dude.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the end all be all for me, and I'll support them a bit, and I'll give some money at them so they could give me another good Anderson Silva fight.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. You know what this is all the big lead into is Rampage against Shannon the Cannon. You know that, right?
Oh, Rampage is going to fight again?
Apparently, Rampage is well, here's the thing.
You know what's weird? I know you say that. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I'm surprised Shannon hasn't been able to find himself onto any of these cards.
I wonder if there's a medical reason. That's the only thing I could think of.
That or he's asking for too much money.
Yeah. Well, you know what makes me so sad? So Shannon the Cannon, people forget this. He was going to be the oldest heavyweight champion of all time. He had a title shot against Fres Escobedo, who's almost as old as him. Not really. He was like 40, I think, when the fight got announced. And Shannon was a huge favorite, and then he tested positive for TRT, and the fight got canceled.
Oh, wow. Sad.
He would have, I think, wasn't George 45 when he won? I think Shannon's 47.
You know what's crazy though? Shannon hasn't fought since 2016. I don't know if it's a good idea for Shannon to fight. And he's about to turn 50 this month.
I know. Well, hey, if he's only fighting Rampage, it shouldn't be a big deal.
Oh, no. I mean, if he's fighting in Japan or China, I mean, fuck it. I mean, he can use whatever he wants.
Apparently the thing is that, so I actually found this out this week. Apparently it's team captains. Rampage is a team captain for MMA, and Shannon is the team captain for boxing.
Wait, so they're going to train him?
I guess they're going to be at the event, and I looked up the press conference right now just to see if I could find some footage of them squaring off or anything. And I guess it's just, from what I could tell, it's 60 minutes of Shannon Briggs and Rampage Jackson talking shit at each other.
That's kind of comedy though. I live for that. I wish we were there now.
Well, I follow them on Instagram, and that's all they do is talk shit at one another. Rampage looks so small next to Shannon though.
Rampage is small right now?
Rampage, not small, in terms of, I mean, he does look like he's lost weight. He looks more like 18 Rampage, you know what I mean? Remember 18, bro?
God. Oh, you're right, he did lose some weight. He's still a little thick, though.
He's still a little thick. He looks like he's getting in shape, though. That's the one freak show fight I'd actually watch, just because those are two of the funniest shit talkers in the game.
Also, they're both old.
Yeah, they're both very old. I think Rampage is only like 41, I think.
Oh, I know he's not that old, but older.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a bit on the older side.
Oh my god, by the way, I just clicked it. This is comedy. I might have to go back and listen to this.
Yeah, dude. Well, you know what also happened today?
What else?
The Jake Paul Tommy Fury UK press conference.
I saw that. It was weird though, because he was out in Puerto Rico and they were, I'm assuming, in the UK. Obviously.
Well, that's what happened. I sent you the clip of the first one. That's what it was the first time around, too.
Oh, really?
Because Tommy was in the UK and then Jake was there in person in Miami.
Dang, Mike looks good. I just saw Mike. He looks in shape.
Good.
Looks big.
Good.
Looks big.
Good.
Big and lean. I don't know. He's always had a good physique.
But yeah, that press conference was so funny. You know, watch that this morning.
That guy is not fighting, right? Hold up. No hate.
What guy?
I just saw a guy there. Okay. He's not one of the fighters. My bad.
Oh, no, bro, that's Alexander Flores. We were talking about him earlier.
No, he is fighting. No, it's I can't think of his name. He's the one fighting the Russian.
What Russian? Oh, you're talking about Scott Sigmund.
Yeah, Scott Sigmund.
Oh my god, yeah, dude, I told you he got destroyed by a 48-year-old Roy Jones. Like I remember watching because that was on UFC Fight Pass for whatever reason. They had Roy Jones' last fight on UFC Fight Pass.
Scott Sigmund my neighbor, dude? He looks like my neighbor.
He took like all 12 rounds, bro.
Yo, Scott Sigmund, bro. Why don't you ever say hi?
I don't have audio on, but this is the funniest thing I've ever seen, just by virtue of looking at it.
I have audio on. It's fucking comedy, dude.
Dude, Shan is talking shit to Rampage. I see Frank Mir's getting in the middle of it. Good for Frank Mir, dude. This is the second straight bag he's getting from Triller.
Good for him. Chase the bag. But he's been competitive, though, so I gotta give him credit. I hope he's competitive against Pulev.
Yeah, that Steve Cunningham fight, I actually thought it was relatively close. I didn't think he won, but I was like, you know.
Oh, no, he definitely didn't win, but he was competitive.
He gave a good account of himself, you know?
Yeah. So it is what the fuck is this captain shit? Are they gonna fight? Definitely, these guys are definitely gonna fight.
They have to fight, right?
Yeah, they have to be fighting. That's literally going to be, Shannon's finally gonna get his payday, and they're gonna have like a fucking another crazy card. They're gonna bring back, dude, you know what they're gonna do? I bet you they're gonna try to chase fucking Logan versus Anderson Silva for their card for that. I kid you not.
I think that's possible. I don't know if Logan would take it though. Because
it depends about the money. It's all about the money. You know, that's what it comes down to.
That's true.
That's all it comes down to. If the money's not there's no point of him doing it.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I do legitimately want to see Rampage against
that, unless they hit us with a bigger fuck you and they want Mike Tyson, Logan Paul on their card.
I actually don't think that one's a real thing. The only person that reported it was Keem, and it's not really been talked about since.
Dude, no, someone else talked about it. I forgot which one. I think Mike actually talked about it. I think Mike actually talked about it, and I think Logan partially talked about it. They both have talked about it in some small capacity on their own shows.
Fair enough. Is it just me? Does Kubrat Pulev look so fed up with the live stream this entire thing?
He looks like fed up with life anytime you see him, except when he had that one interview. You know which one I'm talking about.
I prefer not to talk about that interview for the sake of legal reasons.
Yeah, but at least you know which one I was talking about.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I'm surprised he didn't square these guys off. It's a little bit surprising.
I don't know. Comedy, though. Comedy. Definitely got to go back and listen.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch that one. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that little watch-along we just did right now. That was not intentional, but...
Dude, it's great. Definitely go back and watch it.
Yeah, everybody go ahead and go watch the Triller press conference. That seems hilarious. And also the Jake Paul one. That was very, very funny. But yeah, dude, as far as the show goes, is there anything else we would talk about before we close out?
No, man. I mean, it's a shorter week, a little smaller. Next week we come back with a bang. Obviously, we'll have I guess we won't necessarily have a preview, or actually we won't have a recap of anything, but maybe we'll talk about this shit show that happens this week. Obviously, the outcome of Teofimo and Cambosos and our opinions on that. And obviously, we'll be able to preview the Aldo and Font, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, Jose Aldo and Bob Font. So
we'll be back.
For sure. And as far as this show goes, hope you guys enjoyed as always. Feel free to go ahead and, subscribe, leave some feedback. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm at Josh Evanoff. He's at Angel_01 at Courtside Soundoff for all things relating to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.